Interested in playing Final Fantasy XIV but worried A Realm Reborn will treat you like this?
Great practical joke, Jim. Got me go to the Enix. No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Due to its rise in popularity, a few of my friends have actually asked my thoughts on Final Fantasy XIV and if they should try it out. And I gave them the response that any Final Fantasy XIV player would give someone new. That being that the game is great and it has a lot of value. However, you have to get through the beginning of the game to reach the high points of Final Fantasy XIV. That is until recently. One man has made me rethink the advice and wonder if Realm Reborn is really that bad. That man is none other than it's your boy Asmongold.
What's up, yo? It's me. It's your boy Asmongold. It's your boy Asmongold.
Watching Asmon's video on his first impressions of A Realm Reborn, he says he was warned that A Realm Reborn was not the greatest and that he might not even be able to get through it. Contrary to popular belief, Asmon actually praised A Realm Reborn story and said it wasn't as bad as people think it is.
What? What the fuck?
When you look at A Realm Reborn, it pales in comparison to its younger siblings. But to all you prospective and new Final Fantasy players out there, maybe there's still something to be said about the base version of the game. There are two major complaints that new players will hear about A Realm Reborn. Number one being the story and how it's extremely slow and very dialogue heavy. A lot of players call it the slog because of this. Additionally, the second one is the 2.5 second global cooldown on combat, which makes it just as slow, and especially in the beginning when you don't have as many abilities, the combat feels extremely boring. Before I get further into those points, I wanted to mention something that you prospective Final Fantasy players are going to love. Square Enix has actually listened to the feedback of the players, and they have made some changes several months ago to improve the A Realm Reborn experience for new players. They made three major changes to improve the quality of life in A Realm Reborn. Firstly, they cut a lot of the fat out of the main storyline, so it takes a lot less time to complete the whole entire storyline. Secondly, they significantly boosted the EXP in the quests. This is really important because previously you wouldn't have enough EXP to meet the prerequisite level of the next quest in the main storyline, so you had to do dungeons or side quests in order to catch up. Finally, upon completion of the quest Ultimate Weapon, you can now fly in A Realm Reborn, which will also speed up some of that post A Realm Reborn questline, which takes forever. So as you can see, these changes are really focused on the quest line, and it helps the story improve and helps people get to the story a little faster instead of going through what they call the slog. Something people don't talk about a lot is how this also aids in the slow combat issue. Because you're getting so much EXP now, you're actually going to be over leveled for the storyline. My point isn't that you're going to be super OP, pew pew, one-shot mobs, go through story, easy game, but more that because you're leveling so quickly, you'll have access to more abilities, therefore getting your GCDs and OGCDs faster, making the combat feel a little bit better than just 3 buttons. On the topic of pew pew one-shots, Final Fantasy also has that as a great strength. You can't one-shot your way through the story by default. A lot of the times when you queue up for dungeons, raids, or trials, you will have to do them at the scaled item level. So when you queue up with other players, even if they have endgame gear, by default they're going to be scaled down as well, creating the sense of challenge and difficulty. I personally think this is a really important point because that sense of challenge is extremely important even in the early levels of MMOs. I can't count on my hand the amount of MMOs I've played where I go through a dungeon and it's just a breeze through and it's not difficult and I don't get that experience because the players are so geared that, you know, it doesn't make a difference to them. It gives you that sense of achievement and fulfillment that you look for in games like this, and I think that is something to be said. Using our boy Asmongold as an example again, currently he's doing A Realm Reborn Extreme Trials, which are basically bosses for raids, but there's only one boss, right? And there's a lot of mechanics involved, and it's a really tough fight. His first extreme trial took him 2 hours to complete, so it's still pretty difficult, and it does provide that challenge that you're looking for. And mainly because the gear is scaled down, no one can one-shot the boss, so you have to go through all the mechanics, you have to learn the fight and stuff like that. After talking about all the changes and how the experience of Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn is still great, I think there's still some prospective players out there who might be worried or scared to try it just because of the things they've heard about the game negatively. The thing I want to say to those players is that Final Fantasy A Realm Reborn is not the greatest content that this game has to offer. However, it sets you up so well for the future parts of the game that I think it's a very good investment to get into. It's not nearly as bad as people say it is, but it's definitely not the best part of the game. It lays down such a deep and rich story and establishes the connection with the characters that will carry out throughout the expansions. When you see someone in this game, you'll see them again. A lot of times in MMOs, characters seem trivial because you only see them once because they're needed for a quest. Final Fantasy brings these characters out multiple times, and they're used for like several different situations. In terms of the combat, you're building a perfect base of what is to come later. As you get further and further into the game, farther into the expansions, they add more and more, and the combat system becomes more complicated. So if you have that base understanding of your class, it'll be a lot easier in the future. My point is that all of this is building. Just like in most MMOs, it's an investment. Obviously, a lot of people have the argument that it shouldn't take 100 hours for a game to be good. In my opinion, the game is still good in the beginning, but it gets better and better and better, and it rewards you even further, just like any good MMO should. So guys, if you were having any doubts or were worried about A Realm Reborn when you're trying out Final Fantasy, I hope I gave you some better context. I hope I educated you on the pros and the cons. If you guys liked the video, go ahead, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Also, I will be starting to stream on Twitch, so if you guys are interested, you can go ahead and watch me on Twitch TV/AstroSaiyan. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys next time.